Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to the midday news on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Rivers State House of Assembly has commenced impeachment proceedings against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy Ngozi Odu over allegation of gross misconduct. Ubong Usoro reports. All right, we'll bring you that report in our subsequent bulletin. Now to the next story. Top members and some governors of the All Progressive Congress have moved to douse tension in Rivers State following the 7-day impeachment notice issued by the Rivers State House of Assembly to Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, Professor Ngozi Odu. The political crisis in Rivers State escalated on Thursday as the Rivers State House of Assembly commenced fresh impeachment proceedings against Fubara and Odu, issuing them a 7-day notice to respond to allegations of gross misconduct. The 27 lawmakers aligned with the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, accused the governor and his deputy of deliberately frustrating the Assembly's constitutional responsibility, describing the allegation infractions and impeachment offenses. The impeachment process was initiated following a motion moved by the Deputy Speaker, Dumi Mao, and seconded by Silvanus Nwankwo. The New Nigerian People's Party, that is NNPP, says the dissolution of the Kano State Executive of the party at all levels stands and cannot be revised by a court order. This is contained in a statement issued by the party's National Publicity Secretary, Ladipo Johnson, in Abuja. Johnson said the reaction followed media report that a high court in Kano State has revised the dissolution of the party's executive committee at the state, local government, and ward level in line with the NNPP constitution. Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo has commissioned a newly constructed 5-kilometer road in Agwata local government area of the state in furtherance of community-driven development. The road was built by a private individual, an indigene of Ezinefite, Chief Anthony Obele, according to a statement on Thursday by the governor's press secretary, Christian Obureme. The project executed through a public-private community partnership, an initiative championed by the Soludo administration, represented a milestone in the state's infrastructure development and a strong example of collaborative governance. The federal government has redesignated the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, celebrated annually on January 15, to Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day. The Director of Defense Information, Major General Sumaila Uba, explained in a statement that the redesignation was to reflect the dual purpose of the day. He urged the media to adopt Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day in all their future reportage. The Nigerian Army has warned members of the public against a fake social media account falsely claiming to be operated by the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Wide Shaibu. The Acting Director, Army Public Relations, Colonel Apollonia Anele, disclosed this in a statement made available to a newsman in Abuja on Friday. Anele said the Army had observed a disturbing rise in fraudulent online accounts created by unscrupulous individuals to impersonate the COAS for criminal purposes. According to her, the fake accounts are being used to deceive unsuspecting members of the public, solicit funds, spend misappropriation, and commit other fraudulent acts in the name of COAS and the Nigerian Army. The World Health Organization has identified malnutrition in children under 5 as a major global health challenge. linked to 45% of child death, significantly impacting development and economic growth, particularly in low and mid-income countries. Correspondent Zarau Nasir takes a look at what the federal government is doing in tackling malnutrition in the country.
An estimated 2 million children in Nigeria suffer from acute malnutrition, but only 2 out of every 10 children affected get treatment. 7% of women of childbearing age also suffer from acute malnutrition. Nigeria has the second highest burden of stunted children in the world, with a national prevalence rate of 32% of children under 5. Medical experts say symptoms include weight loss, poor growth, fatigue, weakened immunity, and cognitive issues. The attributed causes to include poor diet and poverty to underlying illness or absorption problems, affecting all ages but especially children and the elderly. This they believe can be addressed through improved nutrition, supplementation, and treating root causes. The Director of Nutrition Information System, Federal Ministry of Health, Emmanuel Abata, says the Minister of Health, Professor Muhammad Ali Fati, is doing everything possible to see zero malnourished child in the country, especially by bringing donor partners to support what the government is doing to tackle the issue of malnutrition.
To him, he wants, if it's possible, he will see zero malnourished child in Nigeria. He wants it to be zero. So I think he has come in with a lot of strategies and a lot of plans, and is making a lot of effort. Even today, he's bringing donor partners to support the ministry, to add to what government is doing. And I think he has supported the nutrition interventions in Nigeria. So we are procuring commodities, especially these basic products for nutritional services like RTF, SQLNS, and the rest of them.
The United Nations view malnutrition as a critical global challenge, a violation of human rights, and a barrier to development, aiming to end it by 2030 through Sustainable Development Goals, which targets ending hunger and all forms of malnutrition. Zahra Nasir, reporting for Global TV.
Thank you very much, Zarau Nasir. Now to the next story, where Rivers State House of Assembly has commenced impeachment proceedings against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, Ngozi Odu, over allegations of gross misconduct. Ubong Usoro brings us that report.
The impeachment process was initiated during plenary, where the majority leader, Major Jack, read the notice of allegations against the governor before lawmakers. According to the notice, the assembly accused Governor Fubara and his deputy of failing to comply with agreements reached during peace meetings brokered by President Bola Tinubu in December 2023, as well as another agreement reached in 2025 during the period of emergency rule in the state. Track of Major Jack.
Withholding of funds meant for the running of Rivers State House of Assembly Service Commission and frustrating a commission set up by Part 2AA of the 1999 Constitution as amended.
Speaking during the session, the Deputy Speaker of Rivers State House of Assembly, Duemli Mual, said the governor and his deputy failed to yield to the terms of the peace parley initiated by the president. Among the allegations leveled against Governor Fubara are the demolition of the Rivers State House of Assembly complex, extra budgetary spending, and the withholdings of funds meant for the Assembly Service Commission. Lawmakers also accuse the governor of refusing to comply with the Supreme Court's judgment granting financial autonomy to the Rivers State House of Assembly.
That the governor and deputy governor have continued to act as tyrants, have no good plans for transparency or good governance of Rivers State, and have repeatedly breached, backtracked on peace agreement facilitated, sir, by the president of this country, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFI.
The assembly says the impeachment proceedings are being carried out in line with constitutional provisions as political tensions continue to mount in the state. Ubong Usoro for Global Television News.
Ekiti State government has said it will start administering the measles rubella vaccine as part of its immunization program this month in a bid to protect children and close existing immunity gaps. The state immunization officer, Omolabake Ogumdola, who described measles and rubella as deadly and contagious diseases, said the introduction of the MR vaccine into the immunization program in the state was to protect children against them. She spoke in Ado-Ekiti Friday during a media orientation and sensitization meeting organized by the Ekiti State Primary Health Care Development Agency in collaboration with the United Nations Children's Fund ahead of the statewide vaccination campaign. The trial of former Kwara State Abdul Fattah Ahmed and his ex-minister commissioner Demola Banu over alleged 5.78 billion naira fraud resumed yesterday as a state high court in Ilorin, but improper numbering of the documents tendered in court hindered the continuation of the case. The Economic and Financial Crime Commission, EFCC, is prosecuting the duo for alleged misapplication of the funds while serving as governor and commissioner in the state. You're watching the live broadcast of Midday News. When Midday News returns, Trump says U.S. going to start now hitting land against drug cartels. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back from that break. Now let's take you to the world of business, where the federal government, through the Nigerian Port Authority, bolstered the national economy through record trade facilitation, infrastructural development, and key operational efficiencies. A fresh $60 million investment in Green Port Initiative by the President Bola Tinubu's administration is set to transform the NPA's operations, driving a renewed focus on local content development. Recent data from 2025 has shown an unprecedented growth, positioning Nigeria's port as crucial hub for economic prosperity. The Nigerian Offspring Petroleum Regulatory Commission will hold on January 14, 2026, determine its procedure for the assessment of the 2025 licensing round. This was contained in the announcement of Lagos Pre-Bid Conference the Commission issued yesterday. The Commission said the focus area of the upcoming pre-bid conference include the implementation timetable, the bid package preparation, eligible terms, and the assessment and winners determination procedure. And now to the foreign scene. North Korea leader Kim Jong-un has pledged the unconditionality support all of Russian President Vladimir Putin's policy and decisions. North Korea has dispatched thousands of troops to fight for Russia, according to South Korean and Western intelligence agency, as Moscow presses ahead with its nearly 4-year invasion of Ukraine. Kim said he felt truce comradely relations from Putin and regarded their ties as the most precious one. U.S. President Donald Trump said the land strike against drug cartel are on the way following maritime attack in the Eastern Pacific Ocean and Caribbean Sea. Trump's comments came after the surprise capture of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro last weekend, the culmination of months of mounting U.S. military and economic pressure on the leftist leader. A United States immigration officer has shot and killed a woman in Minneapolis, triggering protests and sharp criticism from state officials. Minnesota's governor has blamed the incident on President Donald Trump's immigration crackdown. As Mukhtar Kasim brings us the report.
The woman, identified by local media as 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good, was shot at close range during an immigration enforcement operation after officers said her vehicle was blocking their path. Video footage shows masked ICE agents surrounding her car before shots were fired, sending the vehicle crashing into parked cars as onlookers shouted at federal officers. Governor Tim Walz accused the Trump administration of reckless enforcement tactics, saying aggressive immigration policies had turned federal operations into propaganda-driven actions. Walz promised a full and independent investigation, rejecting federal claims that the victim posed a deadly threat to officers.
This morning we learned that an ICE officer shot and killed someone in Minneapolis. My deepest condolences to the family, to the loved ones who had to learn about this tragic event on national television. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough.
The shooting sparked large demonstrations across Minneapolis, with protesters demanding immigration and customs enforcement leave the city. Demonstrators flooded the street holding anti-ICE placards, while city leaders echoed calls for federal agents to withdraw from local communities.
What happened to Renee? What was done to Renee? She was murdered. Executed. And not just murdered executed by mistake. It wasn't an accident. Nope. Executed. After they shot her, I believe there was a doctor in the vicinity, maybe who lived in the neighborhood, who tried to get to her to treat her, and the ICE agents refused to allow him in.
The Department of Homeland Security has defended the officer's action, calling the incident domestic terrorism as tensions over immigration enforcement continue to deepen nationwide under President Trump's second-term crackdown. Mukhtar Kasim, reporting for Global Television News.
And now to the world of sports. As anticipation builds ahead of the African Cup of Nations AFCON quarter-final match between Nigeria and Algeria, Goldberg Lajabia is placing fans at the heat of the football experience with the return of its festival of drum and light under the Our Beat Our Goat campaign. The Super Eagles will be battling it out against the Desert Foxes tomorrow, and Goldberg is set to host a major fan experience at the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Social Development, Awe Close, Dokpemu in Lagos. The activation will open at 3 p.m. ahead of the 5 p.m. kick-off, giving fans enough time to soak in the atmosphere before the Super Eagles take on familiar North African rival. And that's it on Midday News. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Thanks for watching.